Hello again, and welcome to day number 64. Job, Part 1. At some time in those early days, we do not know exactly when, there lived a good man named Job. His home was in the land of Uz, which may have been on the edge of the desert east of Israel. Job was a very rich man. He had sheep, camels, oxen, and asses by the thousand. In all the east there was no man as rich as Job. And Job was a good man. He served the Lord God and prayed to God every day. He tried to live as God wished him to live and was always kind and gentle. Every day, when his sons were out in the field or having a feast together, Job went out to his altar and offered an offering for each one of his sons and daughters, praying to God for them. For he said, "It may be that my sons have sinned or have turned away from God in their hearts, and I will pray God to forgive them." Once, when the angels of God stood before the Lord, Satan also came and stood among them, as though he were one of God's angels. God saw Satan and said to him, "Satan, where have you come from?" "I have come," answered Satan, "from going up and down the earth and looking at the people on it." The Lord said to Satan, "Have you looked at my servant Job? And have you seen that there is not another man like him in the earth? A good and perfect man, one who fears God and does nothing evil." Satan said to the Lord, "Does Job fear God for nothing? Haven't you made a wall around him and around his house and around everything he has? You have blessed his work and made him rich. But if you stretch out your hand and take away all he has, then he will turn away from you and curse you to your face." Then the Lord said, "Satan, all that Job has is in your power. You can do to his sons, his flocks, and his cattle whatever you wish. Only don't lay your hand on the man himself." Satan left the Lord, and soon trouble began to come to Job. One day, when all his sons and daughters were eating together in the oldest brother's house, a man came running to Job and said the oxen were plowing and the asses were feeding beside them, when wild men from the desert came and drove them all away. The men who were working with the oxen and caring for the asses have all been killed. I am the only one who escaped alive. While this man was speaking, another man came rushing in and said, "The lightning from the clouds has fallen on all the sheep and on the men who were tending them. I am the only one left alive." Before this man had ended, another came in, and he said, "The enemies from Chaldea have come in 3 bands and taken away all the camels. They have killed the men who were with them. I am the only one left alive." Then one more man came in, and he said to Job, Your sons and your daughters were eating and drinking together in the oldest brother's house when a sudden wind from the desert struck the house, and it fell in on them. All your sons and your daughters are dead, and I alone have lived to tell you of it. In one day, all that Job had, his flocks, his cattle, and his sons and daughters were all taken away. Once rich, he was suddenly made poor. Job fell down on his face before the Lord and said, "With nothing I came into the world, and with nothing I shall leave it. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." Even when all was taken from him, Job did not turn away from God or find fault with God's doing. And that was the word of the Lord. Now I'll read you the questions. Discussion questions. What kind of man was Job? That was number 1. Number 2, who wanted to harm Job and why? Number 3, how do you think Job felt when he learned he had lost his family and everything he owned? Number 4, what did he do? And the second part of it, how do you think it made God feel? And that was the end of our questions and day number 64. Join me again in another story sometime soon again. May God bless us all. Bye-bye.